following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, a.k.a. the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery. Welcome to Exit Team Nashua. Hi, welcome to Exit Team Nashua. My name is Jasmine, and I am your host. Thank you for joining us today. I am really excited about today's show.
Really?
Yeah, I actually am. Because this guy right here, Eric, we met like what, 7-8 months ago.
Yes.
And we just instantly hit it off. We shared a passion for recovery and helping others. And even though we don't work together, we tend to stay in contact about recovery related things and sharing our passion and what we can do to help others. And I just always see you out in the recovery field. So I know I'm amongst my people.
We cross paths a lot.
We do.
I can't get away from you.
You try though, don't you?
I just try desperately.
It's called stalking. It's
Is that what it is? Yeah.
You can go get help for it.
I think
it's
she's
okay.
Bobby, you be quiet.
I think she's been outside late at night.
Okay.
There's random rocks hitting my window. I didn't know this was a movie from the 80s.
Okay, all right. I deserve this after the last show, so I'll take it. It's karma. Okay. So, anyways, you're here on a recovery-related show.
I am.
What qualifies you to be here?
I am most certainly in recovery.
You are?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's shocking. I'm not just some guy you grab to come on the show.
We do that sometimes.
Do you?
We actually
like random guys and
we
hope that they...
We actually did one time.
Yeah.
This kid was walking down the road and we didn't have a guest, and I called the Michelles from Rides Above, and I was like, we need a guest. And they called someone. One of their people were walking down the road and they were like, hey, you've got to literally go into this show right now. It was Nick.
Was he sober?
Nick.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He
All right.
qualified for the show.
Okay.
Yes, there is a
All right.
qualification to be on the show.
right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You don't know this,
I qualified.
but we did a background check.
Yeah,
You really
all right.
are in recovery.
It's probably the only background check I will ever pass, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
Listen, so the cool thing is you don't have to admit that on TV.
Yeah, you know.
Listen.
That's all right.
Prove it.
That's all right. Yeah,
Yeah, but
I own that.
When Bobby talks about things like that, he says allegedly.
Allegedly.
I was robbing cars.
According to the affidavit, which I disagree with. You can speak to my lawyer.
This is what I have to deal with. Maybe he plays victim syndrome.
I do not.
From what I've seen, you you put him through the ringer.
He deserved it.
Okay.
That's why,
deserves it.
because of her, that's why we have the same self-care routine.
That isn't all because of me. I talk to you more than I do him.
Talk, she hits more. Right? There's no talking involved.
Oh God. Okay. So.
Right.
So okay.
Your recovery.
So my recovery.
Yes.
So my experience when I hit college is when it really took off for me. I started with...
Can I stop right there?
Yeah.
What was life like before you hit college? Just so our viewers have an understanding of who you are and
Yeah.
so we can connect.
So growing up, I lived in a great household, all American household. Supportive mother, supportive father, siblings were all very, very close. Really no reason for me to go in the direction that I went in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, never wanted for anything, had, support in every goal that I had growing up, and didn't really, in high school I did the high school stuff,
Right.
I drank and smoked weed a couple of times. It made me sleep for 10 hours and I hated it.
I love that that's high school stuff too, because in high school I was shooting dope and
So my experience, right?
Yep.
And ended up going to Clemson University in South Carolina.
Wow.
Okay.
And then transferred to the University of New Hampshire.
Okay.
Go Wildcats.
Then once I transferred to UNH,
Woo!
yep.
Listen, I'm an alumni of University of New Hampshire.
You guys got that
I
alumni
made it through
broken
2
going on.
semesters.
Okay.
Which technically means you're an alumni.
Yeah, I made it through to the start of second semester senior year. That's how
Wow.
close
that's pretty
close,
good.
It came pretty close,
That's
right?
pretty good.
I mean, granted, the last year and a half was in days, but I fell a little bit short.
Happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sophomore year, decided I was going to experiment, like hyper insecure, and certainly fell in with that group of friends that's just what they did, and I wanted to kind of fit in. So
So for using, there was like an effect produced that like drowned out that being insecure.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it started with ecstasy, had a year-long ecstasy, affair with ecstasy, pretty much like an entire school year. And then
I did that too. That's probably what's wrong with me. That's probably why we keep crossing paths.
right. That's why we
Freshman year at UNH.
randomly twitch. Yeah. Yeah.
Freshman year at UNH.
Water
Yep.
sinks to its own level. Look at
Right.
us all sitting here at this table.
Yeah.
Listen, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Junior year, it became cocaine.
Okay.
It was like a year-long love affair with cocaine. And then eventually OxyContin.
Okay.
And I think the first time that I had ever tried any opiate was through a prescription. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this is amazing. This is exactly what I had
Like it
always
was a
wanted.
prescription prescribed to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had
really.
arrived.
Yeah, absolutely. And from there, I mean, this was, 2000, 2001, 2002, when OxyContin was everywhere. So it was really easy for me to get on campus. And it, like that, I dropped, never did ecstasy again, cocaine. Like, it was so fixated on opiates. And that took me on a 17-year journey, I'll say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I see you and you're very established in your life today.
Yeah.
So it's hard, to where you came from and being so established before your addiction, to think that you were out ripping and running for 17 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there were periods of, sobriety in there. I would make it. I didn't make it at all until 2010. Like I switched over to heroin in about 2007. First tried getting sober in 2010. Went through treatment multiple times, more detoxes than I can possibly count. Then from 2010 to 2017, like there were periods of sobriety in there, 6 months, a year here, 18 months there.
Where you were just like remaining like removed from a substance? Were you still like really insecure?
So here's the thing. I still say that, like I still say 18 months, but I would it's not really true because there would be like that single use at like the 9-month mark.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That really
and
didn't
you would
grab
make
me.
it more time?
Yeah,
Wow.
and that was like really kind of a pattern. Like I either had periods where I was drinking like a fish, or was able to abstain, but had very minor slips in there. So I think the longest I probably ever truly put together was probably like 6, 7, 8 months. Like never was able to maintain it. And then, I mean, it took me to some pretty dark places. In 2017, in about, let's see, I had relapsed.
That's so crazy to me. I'm so glad you're on the show.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you I know it's never to judge a book by its cover. I know that. But like I just would have never known that about you because you present yourself so well.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry to interrupt. I'm
No,
just blown away.
I appreciate it.
great.
But I have been incarcerated multiple times. Just
Eric,
about
you
every.
are hope for people.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, every county jail, federal prison, like the whole 9 yards.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
If you're gonna go big.
I mean, dude, you gotta do something.
Yeah,
Don't do
yeah.
that. Never do that again.
That was a little weird.
Yeah, right.
My spirit animal, but okay. Bobby was really upset about that.
So through 2017, so when I relapsed in late 2016, within the course of a period of months, I lost 50 pounds because at this time, it's no longer heroin. Not to minimize heroin, but fentanyl is an entirely different ballgame. What I see it doing what it did to my body, what I see it doing to clients' bodies now is like nothing I've ever seen before with
And the
you know,
soul, how
just-
quickly it
oh,
just sucks the soul, the
absolute
life
right
out of
of
people.
you. Yes. You know, it's a totally different ball game out there now.
And we got crystal meth is really big now too, and that's like
Yeah.
you literally
know,
like the dull that people's
Yeah.
eyes, like they don't even have life to them.
you know, we could spend 3 hours talking about this. There's this hyper focus right now on opiate use disorder and the opiate epidemic, and we're really missing the mark because what's going to be right, you know, what's right on deck is a methamphetamine epidemic.
I mean, we
and-
work in the field. I see it
Yeah.
all the time, and you know, clients are coming in, and it's hard to treat them because there is no detox or no protocol for crystal meth users.
Right, and a lot of the money that has been allocated at the state and federal level is earmarked for opiate use disorder.
Right, yep.
So it's very frustrating. I mean, I lost 40 pounds, and it was going through like the detox spin cycles because I was employed at the time. So I was that guy. I want to get back to work. I want to get back to work.
Oh God,
You're that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're
Yeah,
that guy.
and until it was like there was no way I could work. So now I see other clients doing the same thing, and it drives me bananas because I know where it's going to go.
Yep. And you can tell them, but
They have to have their own
sometimes they got
experience.
Yeah.
And you have to, it's really hard to not be in control of other
Yeah.
people's fate, and
Right.
sometimes it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Here's where it took me towards the very end of my use. I overdosed in the car with my, at the time, 1-year-old daughter in the car, crashed the car.
Wow.
So, like, pretty horrific. 4 days later, overdosed behind the wheel of another car. My daughter wasn't in the car that time, obviously. That was, so Massachusetts, New Hampshire. Out of my last 5 times using, I overdosed 4 times. Narcan 3 of those times.
You have purpose, sir. I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
You have purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, from all of that, and in the middle of all of that are multiple treatment episodes. In fact, so before that first overdose behind the wheel, I had just completed a detox down in Massachusetts, and I was going to the Farnum Center. And I went to the Manchester location for an assessment, and I was supposed to go right up to Webster Place.
Yeah.
So I get the assessment completed. My mom was driving me. I go out to the car, and I said to my mom, turns out there's not a bed available. It was a Friday. So they think they'll be able to admit me on Monday. And then that weekend, I made that decision that weekend, overdosed twice behind the wheel. Like, so I had to navigate a lot with my daughter and, you know, just piecing my life back together. And even after the overdoses, I still could, you know, you would think something that horrific, like daughter in the car, you would just stop. Couldn't stop.
Right.
Like I
That's my experience too.
Consequences
I just
don't matter.
couldn't.
right.
And it
right.
didn't matter. Like I wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Like I
Of
didn't
course,
want to be
screaming
that way.
screaming at myself to stop.
And I
Yeah.
hated myself so much, and I
Yeah.
couldn't understand. I couldn't fathom what was going
Yeah.
on, and like to just be so out of control of your thoughts and your body and everything you're doing, and to not be the person that you want to be.
Right.
It's such a painful experience.
I'd be leaving detoxes AMA, screaming at myself not to leave AMA,
Yeah.
and my body is
You're
just
like
going.
in your head,
Yeah.
and like the
This is a bad idea. I
and
can stop.
The
I can
back
stop.
and
I can
forth
turn around.
dialogue
Yeah.
and how exhausting and draining and torturous,
Yeah.
and like literally you don't want to be in your own skin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's you know, in a way, I'm grateful for that now because I definitely, it gives me more compassion and empathy for, you know, for clients that are leaving AMA, that are not showing up for their admissions. On the same note, though, it also, we were talking about this today at work. I draw a harder line because I know what I had to go through. The reason I got sober and went into treatment was for my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, and that's totally okay. Like, whatever gets you into treatment. So, you know, when I see people really struggling, it's difficult for me because I just feel like there has to come a time where you're like, I'm going to do what I need to do. Whatever is going to keep me sober, I need to find out what that is, and I need to do it.
It's frustrating, and it's one of those things that makes you realize, like, you can't keep everybody sober.
Right.
You can't, like, as much as I want to tell them exactly what's going to happen, or her exactly what's going to happen, sometimes they have to experience it themselves. And I do the same thing. I get super frustrated. And it's just...
We lose a lot of people, especially being people in recovery, and then the three of us, work in the treatment industry, which is not my recovery, but I work in the industry. And it's just so overwhelming, the amount of people that you lose. And like sometimes like
they die.
I go through I reflect in my head on
Yeah.
conversations. What could I have done differently? What could I, and it's hard sometimes for me to not get emotionally drained, because at the end of the day, I'm not that powerful.
Right.
Yeah. And so people in my life all the time, they're like, Jazz, like, why don't you slow down? Like, I've done so many recovery events this weekend, and I work in the office 40 hours, but I'm working nonstop, right? Nonstop. And I have the TV show, and I have the page, and I'm doing all this PR stuff, and people are like, slow down. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, like I should be dead. I have purpose, and like I need to be out here helping people and spreading. And like when I get phone calls that like my friend died, like I'm like going through my head, like reviewing our last conversations, and like I shouldn't be taking it personally, but like there is a piece of me that is overwhelmed with sadness.
Yeah.
Went on a tangent there, sorry.
No,
It's okay. Get it out. Speak your truth.
Yeah. It's just, we have purpose. I don't even know what led that there, but I'm just,
it's tough though, like doing this professionally as a treatment professional. And I said this when I first went into the field, this is going to be so good for my recovery.
No.
I'm going to be helping others.
No, I didn't say that.
So
thank
I
goodness.
did.
Yeah.
Like I truly believed
Really?
it. Yes. And so now I know that it makes it harder.
Yeah.
It is harder to take care of yourself doing this for a job. And now when I see other people coming into the field saying the same thing that I said, you really need to be careful, because
I was going to say, when I started in the industry, I was told off the rip, this is not your recovery.
Yeah.
Well, I
This is
mean,
a
you're
job.
told that.
people
but
told me that. I
how
didn't
many
listen
people
to it though.
do you see that
Yeah.
they start working in treatment, and all of a sudden like their recovery takes a backseat?
Yeah.
How many people do you see,
See it
and
all the time.
And they might not pick up, but like who they are as a person changes.
Yeah.
You see it all the time.
Or they pick up.
Or they pick up.
It
That's
happens.
right.
And then it's this weird.
But even if they don't pick up, like they're suffering.
Right.
I don't know. I want to be free. I want to be me. So.
That rhymed.
Dude, I have been rapping lately, so.
Have you?
No,
Oh,
we're
that's
just kidding.
terrifying.
Just kidding.
We could spend the rest of the show listening to that.
No.
Please, no.
No. I've been doing a lot of PR stuff, so there's a lot of like pictures of me with microphones at different events, and people are like messaging me. They're like, "You rap," and I was like, "Yeah, I did rap."
You really
Way to
are
stay honest.
everywhere. Yeah, you are on like every organization's Facebook page.
Yeah.
That is God just using me as a vessel. That's it. And you have a tremendous story. And as like you're speaking, I was like, wow, I'd really like to get him on more PR stuff with me, because your story is so moving. And like when you're speaking, like, so when I like share my story, people don't realize everything I've been through, and as you're speaking, I'm like, holy cow. Like I would have never thought that about you. And like what that gives me is hope for me, for others. I would love to get you on more PR stuff. Can we keep going with your story? We're not even to the good part yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so so the good part is, so I ended up, going through a detox, going through a program. I got sober at the Farnum Center.
So how long were you in treatment for?
So here's why. Here's why I'm hesitating, because it was an interesting treatment track that I probably would not have chosen. So I went through residential at Farnum. Was engaging in IOP, and then went to jail, Middleton, for 3 months.
Okay.
So
sometimes.
So because of everything that had transpired, so I'm in Middleton, and they have what they call a detox program in Middleton. It's not really a detox; it's like a residential program in the jail. So I signed up for that, and I was in that for like 20 days.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
You're just getting
from
cooler.
there,
Wow.
So then from there, when I got out, I wanted to re-engage in treatment at Farnum, because I mean, out of dozens and
So
dozens
you've already
and
done
dozens.
detox, residential, IOP, residential again.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so then I'm getting out, and the 3 principals in Farnum, like out of a lot of treatment attempts, like the 3 principals really connected with me. So after Middleton, I went back into IOP at Farnum and completed that. And then from there, like pretty foundational things to my recovery. Vivitrol
Yep.
was huge
Great
for
tool.
me.
Love
Huge
it.
for me. I mean, I had tried everything out there. Methadone multiple times, Suboxone multiple times. Vivitrol for me, and I don't know if it was because I was really one-dimensional in my drug use for over a decade. Like I wasn't going to be the guy that switched over to methamphetamine, I feel like. So it was really beneficial. When I was in IOP, I spent entire days at Hope for New Hampshire Recovery, where there are, every meeting that you can think of, and you're just surrounded by other people in recovery. Like I don't particularly care how you get sober, like what you use. I just think that the one common denominator, whatever you're going to do, is other people in recovery, being surrounded.
Connection.
And absolutely.
Connection.
So I was volunteering there. I mean, spending all day there. My life was a wreck. I mean, I was sober, but no license, no job, nothing to do, just out of jail. So that eventually, they offered me a position at one point as director of partner relations, which was a real opportunity. I had 6 months sober at the time, and they presented me with this opportunity.
Had been in and out of jail, hadn't built yourself up. Wow.
And that was...
Shout out to Hope.
I know, right? Seriously.
But all it takes is those people to believe in you and give you that little opportunity, and so much blossoms from it.
Yeah, went into the Recovery Coach Academy there, went, all the CRSW, got my hours in there.
I love Hope for New Hampshire.
Absolutely.
They provide so many amazing resources for people.
Yep.
Keith.
Yeah.
Keith's the man.
He's amazing.
We keep trying to get Keith on the show.
I'll talk. I actually talked to him after this.
Okay.
I'll talk to him.
Yeah, he'd be great to be on the show.
He's out of his mind. It's great.
Yeah.
I love crazy people. We should have Richie on the same show.
So, after being there 9 months, I won't say Farnum came calling, but it's interesting. They had resident instructor jobs available, second and third shift, and some first shift, but it's really difficult to get a first shift position there. Yeah. And I'm going to say this, the person that interviewed me, I hope she's not watching, she probably doesn't know this, but so I sent her an email inquiring on an RI position. She's like, the only thing that's available, externally is third or second shift. I have a 3-year-old kid. There's no way I can work third or second shift. But for some reason, I'm like, I'm going to go on this interview. If for nothing else, I'll maybe get my foot in the door, and down the road, maybe something will open up. Knowing full well there was a 0% chance I could take the job that I was applying for. So my background is in sales and development, I mean, for many, many years. And we're in the interview, and she's looking at my resume, and she says, have you ever considered admissions? And I'm like, I have no idea what you were talking about, but tell me about it.
Because you're new to the industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So one thing that led to another, became an admissions counselor at Farnum. Working for Stephanie.
Heyo.
Yeah. And so that job kind of morphed into a marketing and admissions position, and then fairly recently was promoted to director of business development.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's your life like today?
Married, have
I'm
a
so
wonderful
sorry for
life.
her.
I am too. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you see how she treats you?
That's true though. It's true. My poor wife. My God.
Shout out to your wife.
I know. You need to give her one.
What a saint.
But no, I mean, we have a wonderful life.
Yeah. I see your photos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of your family. And that's really
It's not as good as
beautiful.
it looks on Facebook.
So
it never is.
People
Yeah, I was
message
gonna
me,
say,
and they're
yeah.
like, your life looks so good on social media. And I'm like, I know I do that on purpose.
Right.
It's not really that good. I literally do that on purpose.
Spend 6 seconds in my head, and you'll just see just how
Like,
chaotic things are. Right.
Oh God, why does everything hurt?
Yeah. Social media, I'm on point.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
So fake. As a matter of fact, I messaged some of my friends today, and I was like, hey, after the show tonight, I'm gonna shut down social media for a little while just to take a break and take a break off social media for 2 weeks or so until the next show, because we have to promote shows from social.
Right.
So, But yeah, so show's over almost.
Okay.
Goes
Yeah,
quickly,
I
huh?
know, it does.
So,
Flies by.
so we didn't talk about Farnum Center that
Stephanie
much.
nailed it.
Yeah, well,
She absolutely
I
nailed it.
do want to,
Yeah.
so shows air different weeks. So I
Okay.
do want to just like take like 60 seconds because I want
Yeah.
people to know of the resources that are available to
Okay.
them because we're going to put your, your contact information up on the prompter for
Yeah.
anyone struggling, for them to be able to reach out to you. So what do you offer at Farnum Center?
Okay, so a full continuum of care,
Which
means
okay.
Everything from a medical detox
Yep.
to residential programs in Manchester and Franklin. We have partial hospitalizations programs, intensive outpatient, a stabilization
Can someone come in
unit.
at just at an outpatient level of care?
Absolutely, if
Okay.
they're appropriate.
So they don't need to go through the entire continuum.
That's the
No,
keyword.
and yeah, if they're
Appropriate.
and there's this perception that everybody that's struggling with drugs or alcohol needs a 28-day residential program, and that's a misconception. Clinically, there's a lot of criteria and guidelines that go into that recommendation. So yes, there are clients that are appropriate for an outpatient or intensive outpatient program. It's just very important that the client doesn't make that decision, that they have a full assessment with a clinician who can make that recommendation based on, a
Okay.
whole
Yeah.
lot of information.
Right, gotcha.
Medical
Based on
appropriateness.
criteria and all
Right.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, our treatment modality is 3 principles or health realization,
Which we've
which
learned
really,
a lot about today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It focuses on the neutrality of thought. It's a strength
Do you have
based.
someone at Farnum Center that I would like to bring someone on the show that could educate our viewers for an entire show span about 3 principles.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure I can find
Okay.
somebody that
That would be
willing to do
excellent
that. Yeah.
because the more resources and the more tools that people
Right.
have, the better for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish one thing worked for everybody. It would make our jobs so
So
much
much
easier,
Mhm.
but everybody has their own, their own path.
Right, yeah.
So it's nice to have that alternative. And there are clients that go through our program multiple times and it's not effective, and that's okay. We'll refer out to another treatment provider that will offer something different. Likewise, for that client that has gone through treatment multiple times, that happens to be a specific pathway, it's time to try something different. Let's figure out what works for you.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Client's best interest. Yeah, best interest at the end of the day.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
So here's your information. Eric Dancause.
There it is. That's
Director of Business
It's a
Development.
fancy title, isn't it?
I know.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thanks.
I really am very
Yeah.
proud of you, and I'm grateful you came on the show. And we would love to have you
Thanks for
back.
having me. Yeah.
And we would love to get you involved in some PR stuff that we have going on over the next year or so.
I think I'm finally at the point where I can do that. For
Yeah.
a while, I told you that.
I know. I've invited him on the show previous times before, and he said thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
Way to be strong. She didn't let her pressure you.
She obviously.
This
whittled
time
me
he
down.
reached out to me to come on the
did.
show.
I did, in all fairness.
So,
Yeah.
It was great. I was done pressuring him. I backed off,
Yeah.
and when I backed off, he said, "Okay."
That's what it was.
Oh, is it?
I did it intentionally.
I can't think of the word
Yeah.
now.
Reverse psychology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a great show. Thank you
You're welcome.
for coming.
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining. I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Maddie O'Malley. Thank you for watching. We love you, Maddie. If anyone's struggling, if you need anything, Bobby's number was on the screen. Eric's number was on the screen. Check us out on I Am a Heroin Addict. You can reach any of us on the Facebook page, I Am a Heroin Addict. You can send us a message. We have live people answering and responding all the time. I don't care what city you live in. I don't care what state you live in. We have helped people across the entire country to resources available in their community. Reach out to us. We love you. Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.